All right, what's going on, guys? Young46 coming at you here. So I had asked you guys for some ideas. You did awesome. I got some great feedback, so we're going to start knocking some of those out. Let's see. So Brad K said, talk-throughs would be great. We're going to do that. Also, what's your process when you're lining up a putt? I've noticed you switched to chip view and was wondering why. Also, are you doing any counting of the dot speed and performing any calculations based on that, or are you mostly by feel? Thank you very much for your videos, and I've learned a lot already. Okay, so let's answer some of those questions. So first and foremost, my process for lining up a putt, why I use chip view. So another person asked that too. B Brown 6057 asked, explain what is it you're looking for when you switch to chip view. Okay, so most of the time I'm switching to chip view because I can move around and see the dots. See, I get a better feel for it versus, okay, let's say I try to move them around here. Now it doesn't move. Sometimes I just want to verify that that's actually the line, right? So let's say I think there's some break over here, and I want to double check that. So I'll line up right in the center here. I'm noticing a pretty consistent break there. But that's typically why I do it. Just really to verify some breaks, and I can move it around and make adjustments based off of that. So I think it's definitely a good tool. But, you know, one thing I wasn't a proponent of until honestly here recently was unlocking the grid. I've had a lot of success unlocking the grid. So if I have a read where maybe I'm seeing a different line in forward view than I am in reverse view, I will unlock the grid as a sort of tiebreaker. Right? And the way I do it, I set it up where I want to check, and then I just flip the camera real quick, and then the dots will always start in the middle. So to give you a nice consistent look, because if you're just looking like this and unlock it, it looks kind of like a mess right there. So if you flip it back real quick, we can actually see in this view there's slightly less break in that view. And now it kind of evens out a little bit on the line of our putt. So I always try to line it up where I think it's going to be because it's going to change, right? So if I'm looking at this view, we see a little less break, but that's not necessarily our line. Hopefully that makes sense. Next one was, do I count dots? I wouldn't say I count dots as much as I'm looking at the line. Now you can't count dots, but I'm more or less gauging my speed for my putts, right? So if I'm looking at this, for me, 4 seconds for a half grid is what I call 100% on the JC Sneed method. So this is moving at about half that, I would say, probably a little less. This is half, this is less than half, so probably 33% putt. So the way I would putt that, and I know on this green speed it's going to be like 50% power on a 15-foot scale. But I would take the 14, because it's downhill, I would add, that becomes 17, times 0.33, 5.61. Now, under JC Sneed, that would have been done. But what I noticed was there was an element missing, and that's a break factor, right? So what I've found, so remember that number 5.61, I take the elevation of the putt, divided by the feet, we get 21%. I take that 5.61 times 0.21, and that gives us 6.78. So basically 6.8. So if you follow JC Sneed, if not, look it up on my YouTube channel. This will all make sense, and then come back and watch this. Right? So this is 6 when the edge of the aimer's at the hole. And then you'll see me switch to chip view a lot when I'm aiming lining up my shots. So 7 would be halfway between the left grid, and it's hard for me to show you, but the left grid, left of the pin, and the hole. So right in between there, that would be 7. 6.8 should be right about there. Go to putt view, hit it almost 50%. Good drop. Okay, so that's kind of why I use chip view. And again, just to kind of re-summarize, if it's on a weird line, so let's say this putt right here intersected 3 grid lines. So let's say, if you can see my mouse, let's say the ball was here, and we had to try to read it through this grid, obviously this grid, and that grid. Makes it difficult. So I would go to chip view, and maybe read the left grid and then just kind of move it over and see how the putt was affected the whole way. So it's just a way to kind of read more difficult breaking putts. And obviously in this type of putt, we can do it all in regular view. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed the first video. More to come. If you have any more suggestions, feel free to comment, and I'll start producing out some content with your guys' questions. If you haven't yet, be sure to thumb up the video, and if you haven't, subscribe.